Back. Well, Canadian Muslim organizations from across Canada were on Parliament Hill today calling for unified action to fight Islamophobia. The executive director of the National Council of Canadian Muslims is Isan Gardi, and he joins me in the studio. Welcome to the show. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you.
I mean, I have to tell you, there was this national uprising of anger at the mosque shootings and a resolve to make sure this never happens again. How do you use what you were proposing today to make sure that drive stays alive, that continues, and that the resolve continues?
Well, I think that you mentioned on that we had these national shows of unity and support, and I have to say that those were extremely heartening, and the communities across the country really, really appreciated it. But as you pointed out, it's important now that we don't lose momentum. That's the biggest fear, that in a week from now, 2 weeks from now, people are going to forget about this, and we're going to go back to the same old, same old. So what we're hoping for now is that we recognize that we've had this environment, this climate of rising Islamophobia that has well documented, that NCCM has been documenting on our website, nccm.ca, that other organizations, including StatsCan, have documented that in the past 3 years, hate crimes targeting Canadian Muslims have actually doubled, and that's been echoed by other agencies as well, like the Toronto Police Service, and that we now use this, or make sure that these people didn't die in vain. Right, so that we can actually take concrete steps, and that's why we're calling on all levels of government to be involved, at the municipal, the provincial, and the federal level.
You also, you bring in police, you need education, you're calling on them. What do you want the police to do? What can police do to try and stamp this out?
Right. Well, police services play an important role. We know that police services across Ontario, at least, and in other provinces as well, many of them are under-resourced, and many of them don't even have hate crimes units. So it's important that resources are provided for these police services so that they have the tools and the equipment and training necessary to be able to actually confront and deal with hate crimes and hate incidents. At the same time, it's also important that police services are reporting the hate crimes and hate incidents that they are receiving to their police services board, as well as publicly, so that we can actually gauge where we're at. The data from Statistics Canada that we receive is 2 years in the past, so we don't really have a sense of where things are at right now, which is why NCCM is monitoring as well. But we need government to do its part.
I know this government's trying to help make sure the border walls don't go up to Muslims traveling, just because, Islamophobia reigns even at customs, I guess. They've got the nexus problem sorted out, apparently. There was anyone using Nexus from one of the 7 banned countries was having trouble getting across the border. Now apparently that's lifted. But what do they need to do so that you don't approach a border guard and resign yourself to the fact, I'm going to be held up here, there's religious profiling going on? How do you end that kind of fear, if you will, at the border?
Well, I think this is a bigger and a broader discussion that will require some further analysis and conversations. But what I can say is that obviously the Canadian government has a responsibility and a duty to look after and to care for its citizens and to protect the rights of its citizens. And so it's important that they take that role seriously, and they work with their counterparts in the new U.S. administration to try and make sure that issues that Canadians are facing are resolved quickly and expeditiously.
I think a National Day of Remembrance is a good idea because it would focus the mind. I don't know if you need government to do it, like the Polytechnique massacre. There is a day dedicated. Is that what you're kind of hoping to replicate? That sort of thing?
At the federal level, that is one of our asks, is to have a National Day of Remembrance and action on Islamophobia, so that we make sure that this is something that people are cognizant and aware of. At the same time, there's also a federal motion by MP Iqra Khalid, M103, which is calling for the government to really, a number of things. One, to condemn Islamophobia and all forms of systemic discrimination, and to recognize that there's an environment of rising hatred and a climate of fear, and also to actually study the issue, to look at it from an evidence-based perspective, to be able to look at it, the context, to do needs analysis with communities so that we can come up with real solutions.
Okay, good time. Well, let's hope that passes. Thank you. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you so much.
All right, coming